I simply don't understand people who think that waking up early is the answer to life, or waking up early is the answer to fucking everything under the sun. Because it's really honestly not. I simply don't like even waking up almost. It sounds really just confusing, but I don't like sleeping at all. I seriously just don't have a fucking grudge when I'm sleeping. It is insanely like for me, I don't like being asleep because I feel like I'm wasting my fucking hours. And my parents punish me for even like sleeping late, you know, because I sleep at like 3 fucking 5 a.m., sometimes 1 a.m. if I just don't feel like it. But like waking up at 2 p.m., 4 p.m., like not if, usually, but like 1 to 2 p.m. is, you know, considered genuinely unattractive. But like, you know, who am I gonna wake up for? What do I got in my life that needs waking up? Like I'm unemployed. I've been employed for like since fucking November, you know. I genuinely have had nothing good going on for me. You know, I shouldn't have quit my job, but my brother, who's like a MGTOW red pill, he he of course thinks it's cool to quit your job if you feel uncomfortable, but I honestly didn't like how they treated me. Like I should have taken a 2 month 2 week break and come back. Because honestly, the money wasn't that bad, but it was like genuinely less than unemployment benefits. Like it's the same shit you get while being unemployed, and you work your ass off. You know, it's so humiliating because the money was absolutely dog shit compared to what other people got. I got like $200 every 2 weeks, and I couldn't even like I didn't get it daily. I got like a paycheck every 2 weeks where I literally just checked in like yeah, and those $200 were like almost sometimes 300 were just like instantly obliterated. Like it wouldn't last groceries. I knew that because like if I spend grocery money on it, like that's one grocery tip for like half a week where I usually come from, or it's usually a grocery tip for like a week straight. And I only get that 2 weeks, so like it's impossible to like you have to literally live on budget food, which tastes like dog shit, you know. And I don't even want to eat that. But I generally don't buy my own groceries or whatever. I seriously don't like to make food because I have like zero cooking skills. Well, I only cook like what's in like a book or something, but yeah, it's genuinely like humiliating. And I just seriously, what I spent my money on was musical equipment. Not even used. I bought it old and used, and then I bought it used. And I just seriously wasted a fuck ton of my money buying like this new used shit gear that nobody even wants to buy, even if I list it on the internet. It's not like Timu level, but it's like gear for music and shit. The guitars people can buy usually because they can scavenge, and the necks aren't terrible, but I sold mine. But yeah, like the insane like what's the point of waking up early? Like my brother was like, oh, you have to wake up every day 6 a.m. 4 times a week, gym. Like, dude, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have friends. Who the fuck are you working out for? Okay, not your future girlfriend, because they never show up. They're in fact getting fucking pounded right now as we speak. So there is no fucking actual good ending for like normal fucking people anymore. Like if you're lower middle class or even middle class, you're struggling, and there is no easy way of saying this, but this decade is by far the most boring and most fucking just unhinged and fucking depressing decades I've ever seen while being like alive, because the 2010s had this sort of optimism. Like it wasn't that terrible. Even the worst days weren't that bad as the worst day of 2020, because like the worst day of 2020 can be like a confrontation, almost. And I should have tried not getting an arts degree, but like I thought arts were like people would respect me for it, but like I felt like I just was ghosted, you know. And I seriously don't know what the fuck I was doing, you know. And like I was like into this hobby shit, you know, and your dreams don't really make money. But like seriously, like nobody's even helping you if you're struggling. That's the kind of problem. I mean, like nobody is like out to give you a job at all that actually focuses on your degree and interests. And like I don't have a social life to sort of like mingle with the whole like yeah, I didn't choose my career kind of vibe. I seriously think that like it's just so humiliating, because like where's the room for people with arts degrees and shit? Where the fuck are they supposed to go that isn't working at fucking, you know, Tesco or Aldi or something like that? It's like I seriously don't understand it. And like you're not allowed to even talk about it in some occasions, like talking about why you are, you know, in the shoes that you are now. And like people literally want to rip away my computer for even playing video games when I've been in like a year depressed and haven't even played a single video game, you know. I've just strummed and played guitar until I got like fucking nerve damage on my fingers and like soaring fucking tinnitus, even though like I didn't even play live, you know. And that's one thing you need to realize as a musician. Like the first thing you spend besides an electric guitar and an amp is like these in-ear monitors and a really good Sennheiser. And make sure the fucking sound guy, audio guy, actually knows how to work with these monitors, so he doesn't air rape you by literally just giving you the live feed, you know. Um, but usually these have like these noise canceling sort of functions, and they have even maskers for tinnitus. But they usually are like basically the most best tool to prevent it, because you just listen to your guitar under a lot of silence and you listen to your vocals, you know. So it's a really good tool, you know, and I simply don't understand how people are not using it, like Gen Zers and stuff, and then their eardrums get blown out, their fucking ears are completely destroyed, and because like they use like these monitors that literally the only job they're doing is blasting noise your way, so you actually can hear shit, which is crazy, because you know, and I see these people have these monitors and they just keep telling them to crank it up, you know, because yesterday I was at a gig and there were um, these like earplugs and stuff, which are supposed to be even more protective. So, and they have like a noose and stuff. They work really great. But holy shit, the kick drum was like insanely loud. The whole thing was like a fucking bazooka. And like it's insanely loud. And the fact of the matter is that you're simply not like going to get there's a difference between being a musician and a performer. You know, a musician is much more, you know, in pain all the time. He's almost always depressed or, you know, super bright because he actually has a fucking functioning managing team that isn't play loud, play fast, play cool, and you know, and then you know, they wonder why the artist is struggling mentally because he has like actually he's legally fucking hearing impaired and he is like constantly depressed because he can't listen to any of his favorite songs the same way, and they wonder why he killed himself, you know, or wonder why he's like a shut-in, refuses to even play with his old band, you know, like because like you seriously don't understand how bad it is sometimes. There's a difference between being a, you know, performer and a music enjoyer, because usually music enjoyers can actually pick up the fucking shit that the studio usually mix to basically not make it like actual genuine air rape, but make it something that is like audibly comfortable and stimulating. And I seriously don't understand why people are just breaking into people's room and confronting them all the time. Like, what the fuck are you gonna get out of it, you know? Because, like, this decade is just confrontations, confrontations, expectations, confrontations. Like, there's zero, like, there's no room for comfort or anything because people have, like, actually made wrong decisions in their life, and now they're going to make sure that everyone is going to never make a mistake in their life by literally being a helicopter parent, you know? And I'm not even, like, I never even did any drugs. I didn't smoke. I didn't do any of that. And I still got, you know, almost borderline, you know, just like absolutely worst confrontations ever over the smallest amount of things. Like, why don't you have a functioning social life, etc. Like, and it's genuinely crazy on how that works, you know. Because I wasn't lazy at all, you know. The years that I was here, I wasn't so incredibly lazy as people make it out to be. But I was waiting for an opportunity to come, but it never came. And COVID kind of ruined my perspective on life because I found out that, you know, most people aren't really your friends, and they're only there to basically fit the status quo, not actually, you know, talk to you. And it just pissed me off, you know, all the time because I thought like actually people like were interested in talking to you, but they're only doing it so they can sort of. Because I think people just block me straight away when I actually have more viewers and like more success than they ever did on social media, and they actually, you know, thought they could try, you know, one summer in 2018 or something. And then like I blow up on social media and they tell me to delete all my socials and all this shit because I fucking, you know, got more views than ever they ever, you know, got in like a fraction of attention, you know. And you know, I hate, you know, I don't hate being famous like that. I don't like the attention really. Because it's just like short form video. Nobody's actually, there's like less and less long form videos that even get like over 1 million views now that aren't these brain rot creators that are making like a fucking porn or something. Like they're just making like an insane long form, like, oh, we're going to Spain to basically milk cows. Wow. I was like, yeah. Like, and these people get more views than like most people ever will in their entire lifetime, you know. I looked past it and I just literally just did my shit, and you know, like I don't think about it usually. And you know, and I don't understand how people haven't, you know, they people are almost instructed now to not even mention the black pill or even like any of these sort of things, because the black pill is like actually getting into media. Almost everyone is talking about it or using it as a slang, like it's black pilling. I don't want to get into it, but they know it's the real deal, you know, it's the realism. When people say it's black pilling and they don't want to get into it, it's so deep and, you know, in real life that they don't want to actually, you know, genuinely talk about it. You know, they want to remain a little bit optimistic and stuff. Because I think if people ignore the black pill, you know, because I think that people have like accepted it, but they don't want to get into it. I've seen people accept it, and you know, they silently sort of like agree with people that it is, you know, real life. Let's not try to lie to people, you know. Like, I don't understand how this culture got here, because I thought like being nice to people would actually get you somewhere, and it does get you somewhat somewhere, but like it there's a sort of a barrier, and there's a sort of gate, which is, you know, your gate kept, you know, and bald, and you know, why is everything bottlenecked while there is like a shortage of people on like media, like we need more people like that, and they like tell us to fuck off, you know, because we don't have the credentials necessary to be their type of, you know, good enough. Well, you know, they back in 1970 fucking 9, they had like a they they literally just took people in like that. Like, I don't understand how these people, like these boomers, think that, you know, by, you know, just completely not giving a single generation of youth a chance anymore. Like, it's not even the 90s. The 90s had, you had a little bit of a chance if you just talked to them, but nowadays they use these AI filters to even like they use these AI filters to gatekeep absolutely everyone, no matter how good they look. So it's just like, okay, if you have the credentials necessary, you are accepted, you know. And it's like, and if you go to like rural towns, like they'll only hire you if like, it's not super racist, but it's like you have to be from that county or 3 counties away, or else they'll not, you know, forget about it, you know. You have to be from that sort of county or state, because like they only hire people with that sort of mentality that they have, and I see that, and it's people get really pissed off because they, you know, they cut people off, and that's fair, you know, but these people are the only ones with the jobs, you know, but where I come from, they literally legally can't do that anymore, unless it's like a based on their income. But if they're like in actually legally, you know, paper, you know, documented, you know, like they are in the papers, you know, they literally have to do whatever the government says. You have to have at least, you know, 40% women. You have to have at least, you know, mentally, because that's literally why they wanted me to be there, because I'm basically retarded. You know, the government wants people that are mentally, you know, they are on this, they are neurodivergent. They want those people in work, and that was a card where I could literally be a, I could work there for 5 years and I just could like instantly come, because like the government literally says like there isn't enough neurodivergence statistically, so where the fuck are they going? Oh yeah, people are not hiring. Let's make them, you know. And I heard that, and I just don't feel like I want to be a pawn or be used like that. Just be that retard that legally got there because of a legal requirement. It feels so, you know, like I guess, you know, it is, you know, free money in the end of the day, but it just doesn't feel like I am like a human in the end of the day, if you get what I mean. I just don't feel like I'm like an individual, you know. I just feel like I'm a statistic, you know. And that is where I draw the line. If you don't, if you just relate to me like a statistic, we're not friends, you know. But like it's really difficult now to get things going, because I want to be employed, but all the jobs that I have, you know, because I should have worked and found a job that I liked while working there, because I fucking, my brother told me to quit instantly, and fuck him for doing so, because I got nothing. I got, like, if I stayed there now, I would have gotten at least, you know, $2,000 or something just being there, or 3,000, you know, and I could have used that to buy guitars or whatever the fuck, you know, or save it up, you know, because you can't even buy a car for that money. You have to literally save up at least to 7 to get anything, you know, good that isn't a fucking, you know, scam. But I get so pissed off. And my parents literally told me, "Oh, it's your fault that you did it." No, I told them. And my brother was the guy who told me to quit, and like, you know, he got super pissed off when I mentioned that, because like he was the guy. Like he was like screaming with a bunch of sweat and tears, like, "You have to quit now. You have to quit now." Like, they're using you. Sam Hyde told it. Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde. Sam, you listen to Sam Hyde, right? And you know, I didn't really think about it that much, but it was like one summer where one, you know, November, you know, where I was just insanely depressed. I was night driving all the time after work. I showed up late all the time. I was just fucking a wreck, you know. I didn't show up late all the time. I was like a couple of minutes late. Not even like I woke up early. I showed up, you know. But like I didn't pay attention to my job, you know, waking up and doing my tasks as I was told to do. I seriously just lost my fucking mind, you know. You know, because I just like, what do we do now, you know? Because like my head is still scratching. Like, do these people really want me, or do they want, because I'm, you know, mentally, you know, different? Because like I just think about the money. I just work for the money and not for the social thing. And my like mother, "Oh yeah, I have this connection, bro. I work with this connection. I know this connection." And then fucking hell, guess what? I get ghosted in the end. "Oh, just give him a call, bro. Give him a call." And like, you can't just give people random calls anymore. They don't do it. It's not 2016 anymore. And he just told me, "You quit your fucking job now. You give her a call. They'll pay you double the amount." Like, That sounds so stupid. They legally can't do that, you know? They can't pay you so much money. And guess what? The government caps your fucking money that you get, you know? The government caps the fucking money you get, so you always get free. Everyone in the country gets 300, so you're basically just getting the same what everyone in the country is getting. So you can't get more money unless you're actually fucking, you know, in a wheelchair or whatever, you know? Or you're something something that like actually is important for you to have that money, because like they literally will take that money themselves, or you know, make it into tax, because I've never seen anyone get paid more while being in that unemployment, and like, oh, fucking unemployment, you do it alone, you do it independently, you're an independent person. And you know, and I shouldn't have quit, you know. I was just tired. I should have taken a break, you know, because working in, you know, working with, you know, blue collar wasn't terrible. They actually have safety practices and all this shit, and they actually can, you know, they don't pull people down to the point where they like break their backs, but they, you know, you have to do your fucking work in the end of the day. And it wasn't that super like there was people my age, but like the women wouldn't talk to me, or you know, they wouldn't really want to. Like, it just felt like the social climate was kind of dead when I showed up. Like they could have smelled my neurodivergence like a mile away, you know, and I think that's the case, but I'm not sure. And lo and behold, I see these same people from the work, you know, in February, as of recently, I saw them. Like I was just night driving as casual, you know, and I don't drive that long distance anymore because these fucking electric cars, they don't, you can't drive, you know, 200 or 250 kilometers like do you do in the summer. You can only drive a casual 150 if you're lucky. And I saw them all there, you know, they were just like driving, and I tried to like wave my hand and, you know, try to say hello, but they didn't look at me, you know, because it was at a roundabout, and you know, I just felt like they forgot me already, you know. That's my feeling, you know. If I feel like it's most likely true, you know, if that feeling is correct, you know, but I'm not sure. My feelings always get the best of me. Um, but you know, I feel like they probably were there, and I don't think they really looked at me that much, you know, because they were driving and stuff. But usually, where I come from, you know, you look at around, like, is there anyone I know, or from the place I come from? Because you know, people are lonely as shit, so they like actually look around like the roundabout and look at the window directly to people's faces and shit. And I totally get it, because there is like almost nothing where I come from to do, and I don't feel like I am capable of taking a future education. Like, taking future education isn't that stupid, but I feel so like mentally like, and it was probably possible but pre-tinnitus and hearing loss, but now it just feels like I'm, you know, brain rot, you know, like, and like I feel like I am just constantly chronically depressed. You know, my depression was manageable before I got hearing loss, and it wasn't like a loud tour or whatever. It was an accident where I turned on an amp without protection, and a pedal board and a guitar was on, so a feedback blew into my fucking ear, with a phaser that was faulty, I think. Because that phaser made that same sound, I remember, with a Vox, but I was relatively distant away, but it did actually make me a bit more deaf on my left there, but there wasn't any tinnitus. So it was kind of hearing loss without tinnitus. but this one totally wrecked my right ear, which was my actual good ear. Because I remember, you know, this was the hair that this ear that could hear the best and stuff. You know, it wasn't like it was much more feeling and stuff, and like it's to the point where I can't even hear my own voice anymore. I can't even hear it in the same quality as it once was. And you know that makes me depressed all the time, you know, because like you lose the ability to hear your own voice the same way. It feels like I'm talking to someone all the time, quality wise. It was like to the point I could like the weeks and I could hear like robots and stuff. That's no longer the case, but it was like that for almost 2 days. And like I was scared because I heard Dave Grohl talk about like his hearing loss, like everyone sounds like robots. It's a living pain, but I'm, you know, I'm a strong silent type. I never talk about my feelings, even though I shit on everyone, you know, and everyone knows about it. You know, like that's simply why, you know, that I don't like I like to talk about it, you know, because why not, you know? People will make fun of me. Like of course they do. Like that's the only thing they do. But you know, and you know, like the problem I have today is like, how do you manage this shit? Because like I feel like I want to work really badly, but I don't want to like scrub fucking, you know, toilet seats for a living, which was the actual offer I got, which like felt so humiliating. Just let me get some water. Because I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything bad, and I made and now like I make like nothing, and people are threatening to cut all my like help funding and everything. Like they just quit. Like they just literally will threaten to cut every single support, make me live in a flat where I have to pay for it myself, which is physically impossible with the money the government gives me. Like the rent is too high for even like then I have to like make the government pay for my like actual bills and shit, which I don't want to be. But like my like I seriously like do you expect me to get a fucking like because these people think I could just get a blue collar job if I went to IT or something, or like work in coding or something, which I'm not good at coding at all. I don't know what the fuck that even, you know, does, you know. And just to be like told that you need to, because these people thought I could get a job being like an apprentice and get like a ton of cash at, you know, age, you know what, age 19, and I didn't get any of that sort of stuff, and I do feel bad that it came this way, but like, what am I supposed to do? I can't just get a degree. I have to literally, oh, I'm gonna be an apprentice when I'm 27, you know? That's just like humiliating, and nobody will take me seriously. Nobody will ever fucking talk to me. Like, it's to the point where like it's rampage type of fucking depression, like, cause like you can't just live like that, you know. And being an artist, you can't even sing about whatever you feel like. I noticed that like people like they want to get things off their chest, but they can't sing even like remotely close about what they feel like. They have to make it radio friendly, and if it's threatening or hateful, these songs will like actually get completely not delisted from YouTube. Like they will be actually almost banned, or like you can get arrested over making a song now. I'm not even joking. That like it doesn't feel safe, or like if it makes people uncomfortable, you're done basically. And when you have neurodivergence, it's really different, and like it's really hard to tell when you're making people uncomfortable, because I can't even read the room. I never was able to. And like, oh, you're making them visually uncomfortable. How do I do that? They look like they have the same fucking face, you know? Oh, they walk like 2 steps away. Is that a fucking clear sign? You know, and then, you know, that is it, you know? And I never really got, you know, and I just keep getting critiqued, like, oh, your pictures look like shit, the music you make sounds like shit, learn music theory, don't, you know, like, fuck you. Like, while these hipsters with a fucking tuning that is tuned, like, completely out of tune, without even, like, looking at a tuning pedal or anything, or clip-on tuner, they think that they're toughest shit, you know, they're not. Like, honestly, if you work with these like weird alternative tunings where there isn't even, oh, just go with the vibe, go with the air, bro, go with the vibe, and it's like, it sounds like absolute dog shit, like it's like Indian bullshit, you know, that people like think that is really cool, but like they never really visit in India, or wouldn't ever want to visit India, because you know they know exactly. You like you and me knows what exactly goes on if you go a solo trip to India. You know, like women are like told to not go there, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but like it's like going to Egypt and stuff, cause on a solo trip, thinking that, you know, because I've heard about people getting, you know, it's one of the easiest countries to get like gang rape, you know, altercations and stuff. I've heard about that, and on TikTok and shit, and you know, because most people aren't in the same setting, you know, like Europe is a really safe country, America is usually really safe, but you know, if you don't follow their practices, like wearing a hijab, or you know, wearing a, you know, scarf, or like being generally protected by someone when you're a tourist, you're basically, you know, out on your own, you know, because like I've seen people that actually get into these accidents, and they become scarred for life, you know, and they never blame the people there, they just blame themselves, or apologize for even getting into that altercation, which is like crazy, you know. And but I've heard stories about that, but I'm not sure if it's true. But like, why would you be like, most people are like inspired by Buddhism, not the actual people who live there, because they feel like genuinely unsafe sometimes. Um, but I am not sure. They it sounds really cool, but I think I've heard just stories and like rumors that it's not really a good country. to go there now. Like I think it's the tourist board. What was it? Let me Google the tourist board for that country. Where the fuck is my? The phone is charging because it always keeps dying, and my alarms keep going cold because my phone always runs out of power. And you know, my mom keeps calling me, and when I have to wake up, and the phone is completely out of storage. Yeah, I think my mom took away my energy drinks. Yeah, she probably did. Or poured it out of the sink or whatever, because like I had a green one. And you just like, oh, you're only gonna get it once a month because you have to listen to my things. You have to drink black coffee. You have to live traditional. Fuck off, fuck off. Because like, what am I going to get from that? Because like I already have no friends. Trying to make myself, likable isn't gonna help me. It's not gonna help me at all. Because getting, depressed and all this shit, it's just god awful. And yeah, this fucking phone. I have to look out just like the travel guide because I'm not sure if it's confirmed. But I've heard people never go to Cairo or never go to like the county of Egypt because like Egypt is actually really dangerous in some places. If you take a solo trip as like someone, it's food. Yeah, I seriously don't. And they serve it right off the pan, Why do they serve food right off the fucking pan? Like, literally, right off the steel fucking pan, so you can easily burn yourself and, get scarred for life. Yeah, the Egypt travel advice by the UK. Okay, so yeah, it's literally viewed as unsafe in some places. Holy crap, it's literally have to look into it. India, Sri Lanka, holy crap. Do not travel. Is India safe? Okay, you should have at least a couple of friends with you that are. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, I'm not gonna read that because Reddit's, okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna look into that. Yeah. Yeah, you basically need to have. You have to go in a group of at least 4 or 6. But don't go to Africa and stuff. That like besides. Don't go to random parts of Africa because I've just heard people going missing and stuff, and they hang their like literal body parts on the trees or whatever, or like not body parts, but they're used things. And tourists that go missing. That is like, and there was like they go hiking and then they are found dead. You know. I'm not sure if I'm gonna. Well, you have a lot of things happening. You also have not a lot of things happening in your life. It's just really hard to kind of fathom, because I do play a lot of guitar, but like I can't seriously go play every day now, which is just like really shit, because like it was what I like to do. But I'm simply just not able to, because my god, does it fucking hurt to play, you know? And once you get pains, it's like a 70-30 chance where it goes away or not. And you know, I have like this type where it doesn't hurt if you don't do anything, but if you try to play on it, oh god, does it will fucking hurt after a couple of minutes. So I really don't know anymore, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And like seriously, guitar is not worth your fucking, you know, health and general well-being. Just buy two, you know, or three, and keep it digital. You know, my guide is to buy a audio interface, a and just use like Tonocracy or like just a really free app software, and buy a humbucker guitar, buy a P90 guitar, and buy a Strat. None of these need to really be a good guitar, but don't buy like the 80s copies. Buy the newer ones. Those are really identical. But buy the used newer ones, just like that are cheap but not heavy, and you know, neck feels okay. Because not all expensive guitars are great. Um, but seriously, like you don't know what you're going to do. But like if this was the 90s, I would have at least had a band or something, you know, because like there like now right now I would have been like in a band playing live or whatever, but that doesn't happen, you know. What people you did when they were like 21 compared to what I'm doing now is just absolutely insane to think about. Because if people like were super productive, they did actually, you know, get things done in the end of the day. Nowadays, I don't even see people my age group even, you know, do anything. You know, most of them maybe don't even have a fucking car license, you know, and I have one. But you know what's fucking funny? I have a car license. Only one person out of these fucking past 4, 5, 3 years has there been an actual guy asking to be driven somewhere, and he actually paid me for it, I think, or something like that. I don't exactly know how he paid me. I think it was energy drinks or something, but he did. I don't know. We drove to a fucking art convention or something. But yeah, that was kind of it. But seriously, I've had a car license now. I'm neurodivergent, and I seriously don't understand how the fuck I did get it in the first place. But the problem I have is that like I have a car license, yet nobody asks to be driven. You know, nobody wants me to drive them anywhere. They would rather get Shad, who is way too fucking old, and you know, they wouldn't get someone like me to drive anyone anywhere. You know, and that's like, why would you not let me try to drive people? I've only chauffeured a lot of people that my mom brings out and shit, but like it just feels embarrassing to do a lot of stuff. Well, it doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel like people are asking me genuinely to drive them anywhere. I just happen to, you know, have the keys for the car at that moment. That's it. That's the problem I have genuinely with the whole car license and stuff. If you're like a Gen Z incel and you still have a car license, yet people do not want to even associate with you, like what the fuck, you know? All that time just to be told off, even though you spent so much time working on a car license. It genuinely breaks my fucking heart. They would rather get the guy who got the car license, you know, 2 days, who was a socially functioning guy, than get someone like me to drive them anywhere. Because they don't want to have that awkward talk like, what happened? I haven't heard anything from you guys, you know, and it's like, fuck off, just drive us, you know, like. Because that's the feeling I'm gonna get, you know. Because, like, having a car license and being Gen Z still doesn't guarantee you a small talk with anyone or anything, you know? It's just crazy. Like, you're not guaranteed shit even though you worked really hard to get somewhere and you seriously never get anything, any credibility or any sort of recognition for the shit that you do. Or, like, the things that the hardship that you have actually done. Like, if you do anything hard, you'll be ghosted over it. If Shad does anything hard, but he does the exact same thing you do, well, guess what? You are, you know, simply not. He's simply just lucky, you know. But it's not, you know. They actively avoid wanting to be associated with you, and they actively avoid, you know, wanting to take any part being with you, you know. And I try, you know, just to forcefully insert myself, and you know, I don't have a lot of boundaries, socially speaking. I like to talk about anything, but that's what, you know, breaks their fucking back, is that I talk about a lot of stuff which, you know, makes them uncomfortable, because, you know, it's been such a long time since I've talked to them, and they generally become pissed off when I mention, you know, like if I just meet them in point blank random, it's just like the whole vibe is dead, you know, like, why is he here? Why is he here? That's the attitude that they have, you know, why is he here? But when Shaq comes along, it's a whole different story, you know, whole different energy. And I never understand why people say, why is he here, you know? It just feels so absolutely, you know, dishonoring, you know, just like, it feels so fucking rude, you know, and these people don't view it as rude, they view it as correct, you know, that they, like, I'm cut off, and I don't know why I got cut off in the first place. I'll never know why. And if I do ask them, it'll be an hour-long conversation about, shut the fuck up, you're never gonna know the reason why, fuck off, you know, like, all at the time, you know. And, you know, I'm not like this in private at all. This is just me completely unfiltered. But I'm not, I never usually am like this. You know. Like, unfiltered. I'm overly nice to people to the point where they think I'm faking it. And, you know, that doesn't really do me any favors. You know. But, the whole creative thing, like photography, arts, it just feels like a humiliation ritual if you don't actually have any functioning social connections, and it just feels humiliating to try to, you know, get, you know, a bunch of cameras and photos of people that genuinely want to just be taken photos of by a different person. You know, it feels humiliating to try to, you know, photograph people, or in general talk about your hobby and interests. Well, they had the same social interest, and they're more socially high functioning, you know. people literally associate them like Cole Jack. He's the guy who takes actually good photos, or Cole Jack, he actually takes photos. You are just viewed as a fucking tourist in the social situation. You're not viewed as an actual guy that's interlinked with anything, even though you've spent like God knows how long. Like I've spent 3 years with these people, 5 years, and the way they treat me and the way they act like I'm not even there is so fucking rude. I don't understand how it's possible, you know, in this day and age and this decade. I don't understand how it's even possible to get this lonely, when I honestly just try to be myself like my parents told me to be. It just doesn't feel like this doesn't feel like it's supposed to be a time in history where like I'm supposed to be. And I'll always have that thought because like how do you cope with this? I don't, I simply just live through it, but it's not that terrible. But it's not, enjoyable at all. And like, oh, just pull yourself by your bootstraps and live really hard and hardcore. And like that doesn't get you anywhere. Like as an incel or like in general in a black pill, like pulling yourself by your bootstraps only gets you in a worst social climax. And like I've heard that like the lion, he you know the lion never sleeps, or something like that. The lion, when toughs are time, the lion, in tough times the lion would have been blocked. Well, it's so difficult to get anything working, and like I don't have the voice or the face necessary to pull off like easygoing situations with people. Like I don't have the face or the voice for it, and definitely not the body language. Like the attitude people have around me is like, we wish we could kick him out, but we can't, sort of attitude. And maybe in another universe type attitude with everything I do or say. It's just absolutely fucking, absolutely. It is so bad. Like why can't it be. And I just don't am the one who was it like initiates the conversations first, because why would they ever talk to me, and what reason would they ever would they associate with me, or well, like want to rely on me. And like, I am not like that, like, dubious that I offer people service and then, you know, do a bunch of horrible stuff. Like, I'm more of a guy that just wishes he would have been invited or wishes he would have been a part of something. Because I had like a slogan, "Leave me in peace" and stuff. But I thought that you know, leaving me in peace while, you know, there's a break going on would be fine. Because like, talk to me when there's actual working hours. Because I tried to be like that, and the whole attitude changed. You know, it changed completely. And I had that attitude of like, leave me in peace, don't talk to me, and it got changed to like, this guy is an absolute, you know, X and Y, Z, you know. When I honestly just said I want to be left in peace, because I, you know, I got bullied, you know, like, you know, 2 years into the school, I got bullied by these people, and I don't know if they bullied me intentionally, but like the people who are nurses and stuff, holy crap, what a roller coaster that was. And I seriously don't understand how genuinely how fucked up these people can be. Um, I don't know what the fuck they're saying behind my back. You know, I have absolutely no idea, and I probably will never know. But you know, holy crap! Like, what did I do to be like in that situation? You know, because like in mind, I was like 17, 16 during that time, and I still think about it. You know, how can you sort of how can you sort of not think about that? I tried to report to school on it, but I almost got like borderline beaten the fuck out of because of it. Because, you know, you can't like report that you're being bullied. That's even worse than, you know, admitting to not being it. Like, because your parents try and they like they not fail, but it is really difficult for them to do anything about it. Like, they gave me a um separate elevator card and stuff, and I really didn't like that. I want to be treated like everyone else, but I felt like I was being separated, you know, and that I didn't like at all. You know, am I the victim or am I not? That's the kind of problem, because I think I'm not the victim. But it's really difficult to see what other people see, you know, and like, I knew I would never get friends anyways, even if I did, you know, leave them alone or talk, you know, not talk to them. And the whole attitude they had was like, you could have left us alone and we could have like never remembered you, but because, you know, of the person you are, um, you know, you simply had to be such a fucking annoying, you know, like it's just like a casual, we want to forget about you, but you try to be, you know, remember the situation, you try to be remembered, you know, you try to be a part of something that you're not. And it's like, generally, like, what the fuck, you know. And I felt like people would get along, because I didn't do anything like the year once, and the year two became like all quiet, and like they were all doing shit in private, you know, they were all hanging out after school, I didn't. And I asked them, and they were like, they had that fucking I think Christopher Walker, I think, or that actor, when he's like brushing, like, don't, no, don't point the camera at me, don't do it, you know. And like, I don't respect people who just like will cut me off. I don't respect people like that. Especially when there's friends I know and they all like literally will not even talk to me or like associate with me. Like 2 years in, they all like somehow got along in Discord and I'm cut off, you know? Like, don't listen to him. He's a really weird person. Don't look like I've seen like they gossip. Like the only thing they do in Discord is a gossip, you know? And I didn't gossip even once, but I just was so fucking, you know, neurodivergent. And when you're not photogenic or anything like that, that is like the almost the devil's door, you know. Like, cause where do you really, where do you go from there, you know? Cause like, where do these people go? Cause I've only heard that these people like just end up fucking losers or whatever the fuck, you know. I try to be social on Instagram and on Snapchat, but I feel like people are just going to absolutely block the fuck out of me because I've seen people just block me in mass and shit. Like the drop numbers, like drop, the names drop into like, oh yeah, it's 38, now it's 27, now it's fucking 25, you know? What the fuck, you know? And like, what the fuck? And like, what the fuck are you doing, my feed, bro? We're not a thing, bro. Like, what the fuck? What happened to people just like keeping the word or like in keep like do these people don't even want to like want to, you know, hear the word what's going around or just like want to like no, they don't even want to know the recent information what you have been doing. They like I generally hate ghosting. I think that anyone who ghosts anyone for any reason besides like if it's a like an actual illegal crime or like the guy actually is sent to jail because of it or sent to prison, actually been sentenced. Yeah, that's probably, you know, but like I, you know, I only got sent to jail like once and it wasn't even like for a day. It was like less than 24 hours. You know, I said apologized 1,000 fucking times. I don't know why the fuck I was there, but I can generally tell why. Because like I don't look attractive at all. So, you know, I could just barely get the. I could probably understand, you know, in simple terms why I wasn't a part of it, and you know, lo and behold, you know, they thought I was a potential threat or potential like actual potential like I didn't even say any threatening. I just like I'm not gonna like nowadays like direct threats aren't even that like the thing anymore. It's like people go by indirect threats or like slangs or like they literally would just go off your tone of voice instead of the actual like the sentencing like because people are not direct by any means and when you're like sub 5 sub 3 they'll actually cherry pick what any sort of words you use on social media to try to get you in most trouble. If you say anything weird, like this sounds weird, I'm gonna fucking screenshot it and I'm gonna make it look weird with these weird filters. Like what the fuck, you know? And like I got just fucking traumatized over that situation, you know? I feel like these classes are not even meant to be classes, they're just an excuse to basically party and drink and all this shit. And I don't drink or smoke or do anything like that. Like, in fact, I hate people who drink or smoke. Like, I absolutely fucking hate people who drink or smoke. And, like, I'm really vocal about it. I don't like people who drink or smoke or do drugs. And that's like, it's such a normal thing now for people, like Gen Z, Zillennial, Millennial people, they do drugs so often in party situations. You'll literally see people who just roll up a fucking joint or just like sniff cocaine or do like they'll literally do everything, and it's the least people you expect. You know, people that look like their Facebook profile is done with a suit. You know, on a national holiday or you know just on a parade or something, and you know they're studying some law school or whatever, and they're all doing fucking you know drugs, they're drinking, in like like positive party situations, you know, so they're not doing it completely alone. But it just feels like nobody gives a shit anymore, and people haven't been educated that in the 20s, if something goes wrong, there'll be Narcans. Basically, that's their theory on things. You know, if anything goes wrong by any means, there is ways to help them. But you know, like there's just a bunch of these YouTubers popping up, like these drug YouTubers, like, oh yes, I love Molly, bro. Molly's the best. Lean, yeah, totally cool. Like what the fuck? Like these people are probably more Christian than I am, you know, or like they're literally they're probably not even like they're probably Protestants or evangelicals, but like holy crap, you know. They're probably baptized. I'm not even baptized or a part of a church, and I am viewed as like the worst human being out there, you know. And I don't even do any drugs, you know, and or anything like illegal. You know, I just have a weird face, a weird tone, neurodivergent. Like people like I've heard like neurotypicals hate neurodivergents unless they actually say it beforehand. That like I just want to inform you that I'm like I have ADHD or have autism. They literally like there was a study I think which said that you had to basically be, you know, you literally you had to be telling people beforehand, or else they would have gotten more pissed off. They would have never. They don't trust you. They don't like you. So you have to literally say it beforehand, or else it'll be an actual, you know, roller coaster for people. And I don't get it, you know. And yeah, I don't get it, you know. Like I haven't ignored anything, you know, but I never got the opportunity to play in a band. I never got, you know, offered anything. And when I tried to do this thing solo by like playing guitar alone with a camera and all this shit, the whole attitude changed and people were like, just quit the video, bro. Just like delete this video, bro. Nobody needs to see you play. Like, holy fucking Christ, you know? And like, what the fuck? And I've been practicing and I've been playing and noodling for, you know, so many fucking years. It's been like since 2021. And you know, it's just way easier for people to socially glide, you know. Um and if you try to socially glide, you are considered the odd one out, you know. I saw like Jacksepticeye. He was like usually really cool and you know really like seriously like really happy. Like he is sometimes happy, but he wasn't that energetic or cartoony as he used to be. And he found out he had autism, and he became like super depressed. Like this is the reason why things are why they are, why the friend situations are like this, and like I low-key felt bad for him because like he just found out why things just doesn't work for him, and you know why things are why they are, and you know it just breaks my heart when people find out that they're like they've been, you know, because I didn't know how retarded I was my entire life before I found out, you know, like you are genuinely retarded. There's like, how the fuck are you even able to do this? Because most people normally wouldn't be able to, you know, function with the the attitude that you have, you know, that like most people like you, if you were a normal person, you wouldn't be able to live in that sort of silence for 4 to 6 months. Like that wouldn't be possible for normal people. And like what the fuck, you know? Like it wouldn't be possible for you to even like, you know, live under these conditions or in the sort of past that you have had. That wouldn't be able, you know. Like how didn't you get any help sooner? As like I didn't think about it that much. Like I just grew a really big tolerance for stupid things to happen. But you know, yeah, you know. Never had really any big close friends. You know, like, my teens were really not wasted, but I didn't want to ask for invitation because that I feel like is the end all be all. Like when you have to personally ask them to invite you, like that is so humiliating. Because it just doesn't feel like you're going to ruin the whole day for them for you to even being there, you know. Because who asks to be invited, you know? Not Shad, not, you know, people actually have a functioning social climax, you know. Piss off. Because I had times where I would just play Xbox and I would just be told, like back in 2022, 2021, I would just like play Xbox with a bunch of these classmates, and I just, you know, the whole vibe changed when I came, you know, around, and it like it just felt so humiliating to try to be a part of something that, you know, like I asked to be, you know, last time I asked to be a part of something was the time I got like bullied almost every single day after school on Xbox Live with these fucking with this relationship. You know, like they would invite me separately to a different call, tell me about like how are you doing, what's your problems, and they would just immediately go out on it. You know, and I just went with it because I felt like there was like actually nothing else to do. I was like simply so fucking bored that like I would just grow used to it because like they're like what the fuck is there to do, you know? Like these people would end up apologizing, but like these guys have like 3 likes on their fucking Instagram and all this shit. Like they probably don't have a really good life right now. Cause like yeah, ending up with 3 fucking likes on your Instagram. Yeah, something happened to this guy. Cause he went goth. He was relatively shad, you know. But he went up unemployed, you know, and he's a alright guy. I have more contact with him when I actually have the fucking girl I was, you know, playing Xbox with, which was I got person I was at 2 different schools with, by the way. You know, last time I tried to talk with her, it was like her new boyfriend just told me, which was an also former classmate that just told me Like, bro, like, leave her alone, bro. She doesn't need to talk to you. She doesn't like you, bro. She doesn't like you. I was like, what the fuck? You know, I've been playing for weeks, literal years with this person on Apex, Minecraft, just to have like one of them block me and the other one basically mute me, or like we're no longer friends. She has me on all her profiles, but she doesn't ever initiate the conversation. And if I initiate the conversation, what will happen? What do you think will happen? Yeah, exactly. Nothing bright. And they would just end up calling me weird and like unpresentable and all this shit. Like what the fuck, you know. Like generally, how do I get into these situations where I'm just like bullied for years, and then and then they say that's for being weird, and making people uncomfortable, or just making people like now you get it. Like I didn't even think that it was that weird. I just like wanted someone to play with because I just genuinely had no friends. And I didn't even bully people. I never bullied people. I just wanted to be a part of something, and they were like because I'm weird, I'm simply not allowed to have like a social life. What? It is so fucking crazy. And I didn't really ask for help or anything like that, because like who would help me? Like what would be the end? Like it would just be basically being alone. Because like I genuinely just wanted some human interaction. And like what the fuck is this problem? And like is it just a normal thing to like invite autistic kids and bully the fuck out of them? Because I genuinely don't understand. Because I don't think they value or see me as like an actual human being. Sometimes I feel like they just want to see me as like being retarded and nothing else, like just a retarded kid they can like objectify and pick on, and just treat like an actual fucking object, sometimes like borderline. Because these people can't feel, right? They can't feel any emotions, right? And no wonder they become depressed and like what the fuck. Because like I generally don't feel like I got bullied at all, but I did. My parents have to keep reminding me I did get bullied a fuck ton. So it is just weird. Because like there's no justice for the kids that get bullied out there. Like there's just nothing. There's like zero help to be had for like victims of bullying. Like in school and stuff, like that, it like generally fucking nothing happens if you report them on it, and the situation becomes even worse. It becomes like a social nightmare when you actually try to report on it. So that's the kind of problem I had. because I didn't miss those Xbox days, because I at least had someone to fucking play, but they would just bro up and, you know, burn my villages and, like, burn my fucking, you know, builds and stuff, and, I wonder why I became so emotionless, you know, because I seriously was really happy and, like, optimistic and all this shit before I became so bitter and fucking angry all the time, because you know, I couldn't trust people, you know. I wasn't super bitter all the time, but I was, like, generally, like, I seriously am not the same person as I used to be. That's not because I'm mature, it's because, like, I seriously didn't get any fucking help with my stuff, you know. Well, my parents would just, like, send me to a shopping trip or something. Like, they wouldn't, like, there's really little people can do when you've been scarred from bullying and stuff. It generally is really almost nothing they can do. And because it just changes your perspective for the negative, you become, like, insanely bitter and angry. And you don't become, like, grown up or anything. You just become, like, insanely depressed and, like, you know, you just have a bunch of dark thoughts. Because this is what people always viewed me as, because I wasn't really that photogenic at all, but I was, you know, somewhat younger, and still, you know, when you're younger, you're technically more attractive, unless you've been, like, you know, fat your whole life or something like that, which does happen sometimes, but it isn't that widely, you know, known. But I was, you know, I was skinny as hell, you know, and I did have a jawline. I did have, you know, it was a completely different me. A completely different time. Like the early 20s. 20s. But I miss playing GTA. I miss playing all these games, you know, but it doesn't feel like the same after post hearing loss. It just doesn't feel like it's the same experience. And I was generally, like, more unemotional back in the day. Um, Prior to it, like, I was borderline, like, quitting video games, but I just kept it as, like, an activity, you know, just to sort of get it going, and just, like, basically just having, like, a goal to get 4 million a day or something. Um, but I seriously, I didn't play that much video games anyways. I just played, like, a little bit, time after time, you know. So it wasn't that insane, like, of an addiction. I just played every day, and, like, upkeep, basically. And yeah, I was more focused on my job and, you know, my hobbies at the time. But right now, guitar just feels like I am basically, you know, bottlenecked. Like, there is just, like, a insane bottleneck feeling I have, which just, like, feels like I'm not allowed to be, you know, a part of it. But just making albums in general, like, I've seen people just who gave up music, and they, like, didn't regret giving up on music, which is just insanely dark and, you know, sad to think about, you know. Like, I don't regret quitting music, and, you know, if you quit music before your hearing loss, that's probably really not that terrible to think about, but, like, you're too depressed and you're too far, with your hobby to the point where it's impossible to actually go back physically speaking. Because it generally feels like that. But it's weird because like music definitely didn't feel that terrible in 2018 and stuff. But it felt like a time where, it was supposed to be that time where the millennials who basically got, you know, they got, who was supposed to be popular in 2020s, before COVID came and completely destroyed people's ability to, get a career going or anything like that. Um, COVID kind of just like completely was like it was everyone's fucking bouncer. It was a bouncer that just completely denied anyone access to anything. That was like the whole COVID feeling. Like it was like a big bouncer that just like stopped anyone along the way if there anyone wanted to be anything. Because it just restrictions currently going on. And once the restrictions were lifted, yeah, it just felt like a huge chunk. It's not that this was like half of people's prime. Yeah, I'm not even joking. This was like half of people's half 10 years. Some people turned 30, when they were 25, and this was their supposed to be their creative peak, and seeing that how people got cut off and just totally ruined because of it. Emotionally and like everything. Everyone's scarred still from COVID, kind of. Never, everyone didn't, and nobody became the same person, but everyone got a sort of depression because of it. Who went through it. Like nobody could have become not depressed or because of it unless you're filthy rich. But the whole air in like the whole vibe in the air felt dead. From what I remember, like the whole vibe felt dead. It was like an uncertainty. Like, is there going to be insane lockdowns, restrictions on our freedoms? And there was. For health concerns, and and I just like what the fuck. And I did make most out of it digitally while like playing with people I consider my friends at the time. I don't do now, but like I would just try to play video games, and video games helped me a fuck ton coming through COVID. But like it felt like I became so tired from video games. Like it was past the point of burnout. It was like playing while being at 3 stages of burnout. Like no 3 stages of like after burnout. Because like I would play all across until like 2024 daily. Um, and I don't regret it honestly, because like I felt like the world was unsafe at the time. Tetris kind of ruined, or it kind of helped me not feel that much social anxiety. But like I felt like I had like it's impossible to read the room sometimes and pick up people conversations and stuff. But you know, like I really wish I could just play video games right now. I do right now speaking, but it like in the same context as I just like have the video game and I'm playing it and I don't care, because I can do whatever, instead of suffering with that constant fucking sapping sound. You know, it's not a classic E, but it's a sapping sound. Probably it's like an E, but it's not like it's a classic like on YouTube. It's a different type. It's more slow paced and stuff. It does almost get to the point of silence. Not all the time, but it is like 30% there. Yeah. The COVID completely scarred people, and like I don't understand how COVID can we can like how do people get like I don't think we can ever sort of have COVID, like I feel like we can't ever look past what happened. That's my theory. I just feel like we can't. And I missed the 2016 to 2023 vibe. Something died along those lines. I don't know what was Dignity or something. Like something felt really dead in the air. And I feel it was my brother's breakup who did it. Who did the most, amount of like socially speaking. Um, like it just felt like there was the air was kind of dead. And but there was like this weird productiveness. Dreams sort of died during 2023, and like I'm not the only one who fucking thinks that. I've talked to people like, do you feel like dreams are dying? And like everyone just sort of acknowledges that like following your dreams is kind of not a thing anymore, or it's just not really a possibility for the vast amount of population out there. And that like kind of broke people's hearts, like finding out that really there wasn't any way to sort of look past this. And we're sort of, you know, we're sort of not in a really good time right now. And as a decade, this decade has been the most weirdest one because like it didn't it felt like a lot of time has passed. For me, it felt like it wasn't like nothing happened, but it felt like a lot happened, but also nothing happened at the same time. Like like the whole air was kind of just layered, you know, in darkness. The optimism was dead, you know, like there was just like money talks, you know. There was just no room for failures, you know. The money talks, no room for, you know, doing your own thing or doing what you feel is right in the moment. It changed to an attitude of what makes money first, you know. Going by your wallet, not your feelings, you know. And you know, like it just feels like a such super dark decade, and honestly, like how you know every week, every month, continuously everything felt like there was a weird thing in the sky that just killed everyone's optimism. Like the lies were being told, people were, you know, people couldn't look past it. But just seeing how every single month just changed everyone and shaped everyone to a more depressing tone. If people write that, like, if people don't write that in the history books and say it's a personal encounter, not everyone was depressed during that decade, holy fuck, I'll be so pissed off. Actually, most people were actually really, really optimistic during that decade. Like, oh my fucking god, like, have you seen how the social climate just feels sort of dead and nobody is allowed to comment on it? Because they're going to rewrite the history books and say, like, actually, it was really optimistic. 2022 was the best year of our lives. Like, fuck off. Because that's my main fear, is that people will rewrite the sort of depressing feeling we had during the 2020s and how dead everything feels. If people don't ever write that down in the history books and sort of deny it as it's actually just your personal feelings and preference, not actually what happened, like, fuck you. Like, that is going to break me, you know? Because, like, actually, not everyone was depressed. You should have gone to therapy. Like, you're not allowed to comment on it? Like, how is that, like, only an encounter which a few handful of people had? You can't just say that. Because everyone just, like, found out that the world was, like, bullshit, you know? If they rewrite the history books and tell that people were super optimistic and happy all the time, I would just eat my fucking socks. Because they're like they can't lie to kids about this shit. They can't. Or they just don't decide to mention it at all, you know? Which I think they're going to do, you know, not mention it at all. Oh, who the fuck do you think you are, a philosopher? Like, go fuck yourself. You have to have a degree to talk about this. Like, I'll be so pissed off because that's what I generally think like people are. If you have to comment on something and you don't know what you're talking about, you have to have a degree to make your points heard. Oh my god, that just pisses me off so much. Leave it to the experts. You know, I don't know.